Is the rational method a dangerous oversimplification or a brilliantly efficient engineering tool? It's one of the most widely used methods for estimating peak runoff, yet also one of the most frequently misunderstood and misapplied. In this video, I will break down the rational and modified rational methods, going through their assumptions, formulas, and limitations, and show you when they work well and when they don't. We will then go through a few numerical examples so you can apply these models correctly and confidently in your designs. Let's get started. The rational method marked a shift from simple empirical rules toward a more structured relationship between rainfall and runoff. Its principles emerged during the industrialization of the 19th century when engineers needed reliable tools for drainage design. The term rational reflects the core assumption of this method, that runoff is a rational fraction of the incoming rainfall. In the mid-20th century, as urbanization increased the need for detention and retention systems, the method was extended into the modified rational method. This modification accounts for storm durations larger than the time of concentration, allowing engineers to estimate runoff volumes and size storage facilities. The rational method is a peak flow estimation technique that assumes rainfall is uniformly distributed over the entire catchment for a duration at least equal to the time of concentration. It also assumes that the frequency of the peak discharge is equal to the frequency of the rainfall intensity used in the calculation. The rational method is defined as follows, where Q is the peak flow, C is a dimensionless runoff coefficient representing the fraction of rainfall that appears as surface runoff, I is the average rainfall intensity for a duration equal to the time of concentration Tc, and A is the catchment area. For metric applications, the formula incorporates a conversion factor to account for the use of hectares for catchment area and mm per hour for rainfall intensity. The runoff coefficient is the most subjective and influential variable in the rational formula. It integrates complex physical processes such as infiltration, evaporation, depression storage, and interception into one single value. Engineers must select C values based on land use, soil type, and surface slope. For mixed-use watersheds, a composite runoff coefficient is calculated by weighting the C values of individual subareas. Modern regulatory standards often require adjusting the runoff coefficient based on the storm frequency. The duration of designed rainfall in this approach equals the time of concentration. In modern practice, Tc is computed as the sum of travel times for three distinct flow segments: overland sheet flow, shallow concentrated flow, and channel or pipe flow. If you'd like to know more about the time of concentration and different methods for estimating it, please watch our video on this topic. Once the total Tc is established, the corresponding rainfall intensity I is retrieved from intensity duration frequency or IDF curves. The standard rational method is naturally limited because it estimates only the peak discharge and provides no information about the temporal distribution of runoff. As a result, it is not suitable for designing volume-dependent structures such as detention basins. The modified rational method was developed to address this limitation by extending the rational method framework to generate a synthetic runoff hydrograph. In this method, the runoff hydrograph from a storm with a duration equal to the time of concentration is assumed to be triangular. Importantly, the method recognizes that the storm producing the maximum peak flow, typically when the storm duration equals Tc, is not necessarily the storm that governs the required storage volume. When the storm duration d exceeds the time of concentration Tc, the resulting hydrograph is trapezoidal. The key assumptions governing this shape are as follows. First, the flow rises linearly from 0 to the peak Qd over the period Tc. Second, the peak flow Qd is maintained for a duration equal to d minus Tc. Finally, the flow recedes linearly from Qd back to 0 over a period equal to Tc, or Tc multiplied by a recession limb factor. The peak flow Qd in this trapezoid is calculated using the rainfall intensity corresponding to the longer duration d. Since intensity decreases with duration, Qd will be lower than Qp calculated at Tc. However, the total runoff volume, the area under the trapezoid, will be significantly larger. The primary objective of the modified rational method is to identify the critical storm duration, the storm length that produces the maximum required storage volume for a given allowable release rate of Qa from a detention facility. This allowable release rate is typically set equal to the peak flow under pre-development conditions. For any storm duration D, the required detention storage SD is calculated as the difference between inflow and outflow volumes over the period when inflow exceeds the allowable outflow. A common iterative equation for this calculation is like this. Engineers evaluate a set of durations and select the one that yields the largest SD. The standard rational method is the preferred tool for conveyance-only infrastructure, but the objective is to safely transfer runoff downstream. Typical applications include sizing minor drainage assets such as gutters, stormwater pipes, and small culverts. The modified rational method is applied when runoff volume and hydrograph shape are critical. Common uses include detention basin sizing, first flush estimation, and combined hydrograph analysis for multiple small subcatchments contributing to a downstream control point. The key strengths of these methods are as follows. First, computational simplicity. Second, transparency due to the direct relationship between land use C and runoff. Third is implicit safety margin, where uniform rainfall assumptions in various small urban catchments often lead to conservative pipe sizing. The key weaknesses are as follows. First, uniform rainfall assumption. Real storms are especially and temporally varied, an issue that becomes critical as drainage area increases. Second is the volume uncertainty in modified rational method. The synthetic hydrograph is a mathematical approximation which can undersize detention storage compared to hydrograph-based models. Third is the neglect of the antecedent moisture. Both methods assume a constant runoff coefficient, ignoring soil wetness effects. Finally, ignored internal storage. Natural attenuation within the watershed is not explicitly represented. To maintain reliability, consider the following technical notes and best practices. First, drainage area limits. Commonly, most agencies set a catchment size restriction which can significantly vary from one guideline to another. Once area thresholds are exceeded, designers should move to hydrograph-based models that better capture the nonlinear rainfall runoff process. Second is the minimum time of concentration. Many manuals often enforce it to prevent unrealistically high peak flows. Third is the homogeneity requirement. The rational method is well suited for basins with relatively uniform land use. Catchments with mixed land use should be subdivided or analyzed using hydrograph-based models. Fourth is the partial area effect. Engineers should be cautious that a small, highly impervious subcatchment may govern peak flow due to a shorter TC and its corresponding higher rainfall intensity. Finally, the antecedent and seasonal conditions. Runoff coefficients should be adjusted for wet or saturated soils, particularly during winter or successive storm events. So as you saw, the rational and modified rational methods are powerful tools when they are used for the right problem at the right scale. By understanding their assumptions, limitations, and proper applications, you can avoid overconfidence in simple formulas and make better, more defensible design decisions. In the second part of this video, we will go through a few numerical examples so you can apply these methods correctly and confidently in your designs. If you found this video helpful, please check out our channel for more practical hydrology and water engineering tutorials. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.